Retro gaming is something we all hold near and dear to our hearts, whether it's retro games, classic games, old school games. They're all very special to us, and I wanted to make sure that I can continue on the feeling of making it special and feeling special. And that's where Nostalgic Week comes in. That is the second week out of every single month where I play retro, old school, classic games that you guys have recommended for me to play. Now, we do it through a process of elimination with a randomizer, and we do a whole selection with it. And we just had our very first Nostalgic Week, and I would say it was a success. Now, the bad news is we kind of didn't take one thing to account, and that's okay, we'll get into that. But unfortunately, we picked 3 games for this first Nostalgic Week that I was supposed to play through. It was Ratchet Deadlocked, Mega Man X2, and then it was supposed to be Phantom Dust. And unfortunately, we were unable to get to Phantom Dust. So, to make things right and still be able to play Phantom Dust, we will be moving that to December's Nostalgic Week. Alright, now Ratchet Deadlocked, for those who don't know, I didn't even know this game existed. I thought this game, I almost didn't even think this was a Ratchet and Clank game because Clank wasn't in the title at all. And I didn't know a game existed without Clank in the title. Oddly enough, I knew a Clank game existed, a solo Clank game existed. I didn't know a solo Ratchet game existed. So when I heard Ratchet Deadlocked, I was like, that can't be the same Ratchet I'm thinking about, but it was. It's a very odd story. This game totally feels like a total experimentation. I liked it a lot. It was just very action-oriented. It was very action-focused, and I want to say almost to a fault, but it still was very intriguing. It kept me going, kept me wanting to get to the next challenge. The challenges were actually pretty tough. I played on the hardest difficulty available at the time. There is a harder difficulty that you unlock after beating it once, but I was only going to go through this game with the mindset of beating it once, so beat it once on that harder difficulty. It does explore some funny stories. Actually, you know what, let me go back. The dialogue in this game might be some of the best I've ever seen in Ratchet and Clank, honestly. Especially the announcers, Dallas and Juanita. Oddly enough, dialogue goes, that's going to be one of the things that sticks with me, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Now, this game, I'm not going to really go and divulge into a full summary, but oddly enough, it had some pretty crazy themes. You are stuck into a gladiator-esque battle because you, Clank, and I forgot his name already, and I feel bad for doing it. The other companion you're with, the kind of big nerdy dude. Oh man, I don't remember his name. Anyway, you guys get captured by Gleeman Vox. I do remember that name. The main villain, who has captured heroes, put collars on their neck, and forced them into gladiator-esque battles for entertainment and views. This villain, Gleeman Vox, wow. I did not think I was going to get a game reflecting on today's climate in the digital landscape. We're talking shock collars, baby.
Note the deadlock collar securely fastened around your neck. This collar cannot be broken or removed.
Explosive,
Should you stray into any restricted area,
Kaboom.
the collar will administer an extremely painful shock. Observe.
I hate this job.
Should a contestant become uncooperative or worse, boring, his or her collar can be detonated at any time with the push of a button.
Man, remind me of some streamers out there,
There
dude.
you have it. Nothing to lose your head over. Right?
It's all good, it's all good. We know those were set to vibrate, obviously. Anyway, this game does feature a nice selection of weapons to use. Also, a lot of vehicle battles and challenges that felt really refreshing, and boss battles that felt really refreshing. It was a lot of fun going through each one of those. One of my only gripes with all the weapons this game had selected, I'm not a fan of how I had to switch through weapons. There's a button to like kind of go through a couple of the previous weapons selected, but ultimately it's constantly like stopping the flow of battle to switch through your weapons. That was one thing that did not stick right with me in this game. As I'm playing through, you know, constantly pause, switch to this gun, best suited for this scenario. Pause, switch back to this gun, best suited for that scenario. So there was a lot of stop and go with the flow of battle that didn't feel nice. That the stop and flow battle did get it kind of annoying at some points in time, but it was still engaging nonetheless. It still did offer challenges that were worthy. It does make me miss a lot of like the old school PS2 humor. There's a lot of stuff that were like, dang, that's getting like kind of testy, but like nothing like too crazy, but just funny enough. I feel like everything is way too PG rated. I do think a lot of things in gaming have gotten soft, which is unfortunate. Games like Ratchet Deadlocked really highlighted a lot of the funny and hilarious moments in gaming that used to exist.
Sucker! You fell right into my trap! You're exterminated!
That's crazy.
Reactor, slap me some skin!
Good old PlayStation 2 game, just focusing on fun and action. I could very well see myself playing this game again just for fun off stream. Maybe hit back a couple more of those challenges and maybe hit up that hardest difficulty and see how far I can get, you know? I do think it was slept on ultimately. I did take into account, you know, the year it came out. So this game came out 2005. So taking accountability of the year it came out, the challenges it gives you, it doesn't give you the craziest story. Most of the story is kind of told in the background, at least lore-wise, like through the announcers, kind of making witty remarks about it. The line deliveries for Ratchet weren't really... Ratchet almost... He is the main character of this game, but with the little amount of lines he has, the little amount of emotion we get from him, didn't really... It's weird. It is weird. It fits in this weird little niche where doesn't quite feel like we're even playing Ratchet, but we are Ratchet. So, I don't know. I feel like I wish there was more to the story. I wish there was more involvement with even Ratchet and Clank and the other guy. When I'm gonna look his name up. Give me a sec. All right, his name's Al. Okay, so Ratchet, Clank, and Al. There were some like darker tones for sure in this game that it definitely touches on. And there's like moments where you're like, whoa, that's kind of like, all right, stakes are up. This is getting dark. But you know, it's always going to take itself so serious because it is, you know, a Ratchet and Clank game in the end. So there is still going to be that level of comedy involved with it. But for what it's worth, I appreciated the story. I wish there was more involvement with the characters. I just wish they would have slapped Clank's name on there too, honestly. Because he still is involved in the game. He's still talking. He's kind of like the man behind the chair in this game as Ratchet's out there in the battlefield. Which is weird because they still give you two companion robots who are also hilarious. And they actually... I wanted to definitely highlight this part in the game. For NPC characters who help you out, one of the most crucial ones, like there's a button, it's very easy, like in battle, like they'll fall and you have to pick them back up. You don't have to be next to them, you just have to press down on the D-pad and then it starts them like repairing themselves and it gets them back up. A lot of NPCs in games, you kind of just don't even notice they're there. You don't notice the help, you don't notice like the negative sides of not having them there. This game for sure, whenever I didn't have them as help, you could definitely feel the enemies zoning in on you and clocking you instead. You could definitely feel when you do have them up that they're actually putting in work, and they are used a lot for utility things, but even without the utility things that they're involved in, like opening doors or providing a cable for you to zip line on, their presence is felt. And I actually think that's pretty impressive with a game like this. A lot of games even today don't get that right. So I definitely wanted to highlight that aspect of it. There's definitely a lot more to highlight in this game. But ultimately, I think I give this game I feel very comfortable. 7 out of 10. Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked. If you have never played it, never heard of it, it is like a weirdly, oddly fun, experimental Ratchet and Clank game. That's what I would call it. If you have the time, if you have a way to play it, I would say absolutely check it out. I think it's worth the challenge, worth the exploration. They give you access to cheats in the game, but they're like kind of like, oh, you can change the weather. You can... what was it called? They said hold it... is it gangster style? I think it is. Oh my goodness. There's a cheat, so you could just hold your pistol sideways. I thought that was hilarious. Absolutely enabled that immediately. Gangster guns. Wield your Viper gangster style. Oh my god, that's amazing. Hell yeah, we're doing that. But this game, it's not afraid to have fun. It's not afraid to explore things that were never really explored in the base series. And, you know, I think that's very admirable, and I appreciated my time with Ratchet Deadlocked. And I think you should check it out as well. 7 out of 10. Check it out. We're going to move on to discussions to Mega Man X2. And boy, do we have something to talk about. Now, Mega Man X2 absolutely dog walked me. This was a game I looked up the time to beat, and I was like, oh, look, the AI on Google says 2 to 4, 2 to 5 hours. We're cool, we're chilling. I could fit this and get Phantom Dust still in and played. And boy, was I wrong. I'm not a big side-scrolling 2D action platformer guy. Like Metrovania type games, I've never really gotten involved in any of them. Not that I hated it on them or went out of my way to not play them. I just never was truly interested. Always had other genres I was more keen to. And I truly wrote this game off before I even played it. I was like, oh yeah, no, it's going to be one of those games that's going to be tough, but you know, it'll be, you know, just a decent challenge. Any hardships only going to be there because of like limitations when coding games back in the day. This game came out in 94. So I was like, there's no way this game is going to be hard. There's no way that this game's going to be truly that hard. It's one of those games, I'm sure it'll click with me and I'll figure it out. Oh man, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I even owe the community apology. I played it the very first day streaming it. Oh, that was a rude awakening. I got humbled so hard and so fast. I was like, wait. None of these buttons are matching up right. The way I'm pressing them was just not feeling right, was not clicking with me. Normally in a game, especially, I mean, dating as far back as like OG Mario, you hold the run button to jump farther and faster. This game, you can do that, but it has to be accompanied with the dash. So it has to be like a dash jump. And the amount of times I'm like slap and dash and jump at the same time, so my wrist and fingers were killing me. I was like, what the hell is going on? And it took a while for that to even click properly with how I can get the jumps timed. And then I had to figure out the spacing with the jumps. And then I'm like, all right, so this game, this is the issues I'm having early on. I'm like, dude, I'm getting throttled. I knew it wasn't the fundamentals of the game though. I knew it was because I needed to get good, quite literally. Like that game was rolling me and I was like, dude, I suck. Like the realization sank in for me, and you'd see my smile of like, let's get into Mega Man, fade into just a deadlocked in, just this is meaningless. There's a one point in time where I'm just letting the scarab robot just kill me because I made too many stupid mistakes where I ran out of lives for that level. So I was on my last life and I was like, there's no way I'm going to make it to the boss and actually beat the boss. So I was like, dead face, just staring away as this scarab just totally annihilated me. Damn, I was in for such a rude awakening. It took me forever to get the ball rolling, or at least I felt that way, especially with the lack of skill I had to any of these games. Quite literally in my very first Mega Man game. So I've never played Mega Man, any type of Mega Man game before, so I don't know anything as far as lore or how it's played. My one issue with it immediately though, I was like, I was so confident in this too. I was like, I can't shoot up or down. I don't really feel like Mega Man, you know? I don't feel like a Mega Man. I absolutely retract all those. I'm eating my words on that right now. It's weird that you can't shoot up or down, but it all makes sense once all the pillars start falling into place, all the dominoes start knocking over. The way you get upgrades, the way there's so many hidden things in this game, and the community absolutely came through like the Eagles in Lord of the Ring to absolutely save me. They were detrimental to my experience of streaming it. Being my very first Mega Man game, they already came in knowing that this was a struggle. And then they were like, whoa, this is your first one? Well, do this. And like, oh, you should go here and do this. And I cannot thank them enough. They came through and saved me, changed my whole mindset on the game. I wasn't going to have a negative overall on the game. I was having a negative overall on my own skills and abilities. I'm just like, I need to figure this out. This needs to start clicking. And I am just so grateful for them for all the help they supplied. But also, as they were revealing all these little secrets or just the routes and different ways to go about the game, the amount of stuff the game had in it, my mind was getting absolutely blown by the content that was in this game for a game in 94. I slowly went from like, dude, I suck. This game, man, dang, I I didn't know there was so much involved in this game. I'm like, okay, well, there's these limitations. I'm not going to see anything that exceeds them. Boy, was I wrong. There's so much things that exceed my expectations for this game. The boss fights were interesting and fun with unique boss designs and the way they went about it. I'm gonna keep on I kept on saying this. I don't know if I sound like a madman or if, like, yeah, that's legit. But for me, there's an underwater level. There's an ability you get to shoot bubbles. I thought it was incredible for a game in 94 to code bubbles having buoyancy. Because like, even when you get the ultimate ability for the bubble, you have a swirling bubble shield type thing around you. It's not really a shield, but it's, you know, attacks enemies and whatnot. But while you have that on, if you're in the water, you jump higher. You're more buoyant. And I was like, wow, stuff like this was coded in this game in 94. Like, Capcom was cooking. And apparently everyone's like, yeah, no, this game's always been ahead of its time. Like, we try to tell people before. So Mega Man community, absolute giga chads out there that know their game way too well. They know every little nook and cranny about this game. I am so thankful they came through like absolute units to come help me, because the stuff they showed me in the game, told me to go this place, fight this person, test out this ability there. The amount of little differences your abilities matter, and like enemy to enemy types, like just straight up, not even just bosses. Some of the enemies are more susceptible to certain attacks, and vice versa. And it's stuff like this I didn't think would be coded into a game. I did not think there was going to be this level of involvement with the game. I didn't think there was going to be this big of a learning curve. This game went on, like I said, it was supposed to be like, 3 to 5 hours. You look it up, that's what people say. Somebody who's never played a Metrovania type game or any Mega Man game in general, this went on. We started on day 3 of Nostalgic Week. It's a 5-day event, and we went on to play the rest of the days. So it was, yeah, day 4 and 5, and we actually ended it at the very, very end. Normally when I would wrap up streaming is when I finally finished all of Mega Man X2, and I still was blown away by it. The final boss fight, also knowing that the final boss fight can play differently if you do certain event. It's almost like getting an alternate ending in the game, and I was like, I can't believe this is in the game. Like, I constantly getting blown away. The soundtrack was amazing. Every single level sounds really cool and unique. And there's the secrets. Like I said, some of them are very challenging to get to. One of these secrets took me a while to get to it, just because you have to be very precise with your jumping and your maneuvering. And it was all exciting. And the reward for the crazy maneuvering jump puzzle, if you have everything else unlocked, was getting Shoryuken from Street Fighter. And I was like, that's crazy. You need to have max health to use it, and it's the same input that the actual Shoryuken is. And I thought that was hilarious. And I was like, all right, we're gonna use it on this boss. And I was like, all right, it's got to do a decent amount of damage, right? It one-shot that boss. I pulled it off so cleanly too. There's a lot of times where I'm messing up the input because I'm getting way too ahead of myself. It's a one-shot? Oh shit! All right, that was cool. That was really cool. And that moment was insane. Once again, a secret in this, a little Easter egg cheat code almost, if you will. Like, this wasn't the final boss, but it was the final boss of this one area, and I did not expect the Shoryuken to absolutely decimate him. That was so cool. It was an experience I feel like I'll carry through the rest of my life, how exciting that was. I totally have been sleeping on Mega Man. I can't wait to hopefully eventually play through more of the Mega Man series. I got the Legacy Collection on Steam, so I think I have access to Mega Man X, X2, X3, and possibly X4. I'm not sure. I have to double check it. But once again, 94, a game in 94, having all of this stuff implemented into it just didn't seem like this was reality. I was like, there's no way this game existed at this point in time. So I have to give the game its flowers. I have to just absolutely sing it all of its praises. I'm absolutely blown away by what they were able to pull off. I started with such a negative experience, but mainly because of my own inability to play the game properly and understand it and fully come to terms that this is how the game has to be played, and these are the ways you can go about it. Yeah, you can give yourself a harder challenge by fighting bosses without their weaknesses. There were some bosses I was able to pull off fighting and defeating without their weakness, and that felt great, figuring out those challenges and figuring out the little moves that the bosses have. It was very fun to actually do the whole boss rush towards the ending. It was kind of like a redemption arc. It was like, now I have all the right tools and utilities to actually take you down properly after you've killed me so many times. So ultimately, I have to give this game its praises. I was like, I'm gonna keep on saying this over and over again, but yeah, 94, all these things implemented, great soundtrack, a crazy experience for me. I am so thankful to the community being absolutely awesome and helping me out, and meeting those people. They were really cool and chill people. Yeah, so if you ever thought about checking out a Mega Man game, absolutely do so. I can't vouch for them all, but I can vouch for Mega Man X2, and it was a memory I'm going to continue to hold on with me, and it'll be one I cherish for sure. I gave this game a 9 out of 10. It possibly even has room for more. But with that being said, that was the last and final game I was able to get in for Nostalgic Week. It literally ended at the very end of the tail end of Nostalgic Week, wrapping it up. I was like, you know what? That's actually decent. I'm happy I at least got 2 games in. 2 games I felt really well about. We had Ratchet Deadlocked at a 7, and we have Mega Man X2 at a 9. Very comfortable with those ratings. Let me know if you guys have played any of those games and what you think about them. Have you played them? Do you think of them as a 9, 10, maybe somewhere lower, maybe higher than what I rated them? Let me know what you guys think. And if you guys are interested in throwing out any other recommendations, like I said, Nostalgic Week will be a once a month thing done on the second week of every single month. So December's Nostalgic Week, I have slated to start on the 6th, the Saturday the 6th, and it will go till December 10th, which ends on a Wednesday. And we will be starting with Phantom Dust, because unfortunately that was the one game we were unable to get to. But we still will. The week prior, we will go over all the new recommendations within the Discord. It will be something that I solely do on Discord. It's a lot easier to manage all the recommendations and filter them in. So we'll get all the recommendations in the week of, what is this? So it'll be the last week of November. Well, technically the first week of December. Yeah, sorry. First week of December, we will, at one point in time, go through all the recommendations that were in the Discord, filter them through, and we'll find out what other game we will be playing alongside Phantom Dust in Nostalgic Week in December, starting the 6th through the 10th. I hope you guys check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed everything you've seen. Absolutely had a blast with this Nostalgic Week. I thought it was a great way to start it, the very first one ever. I'm really looking forward to the many more we will have together. I'm looking forward to the games and memories we will share and create as we go forward with this journey. I just want to thank you all for checking out the video. For all those who stuck through and watched it, appreciate you all. With that being said, keep being amazing, keep being awesome, keep catching them W's, guys. I will see you later. Peace out.